Welcome to Dili, the vibrant heart of Timor-Leste, where we gather to champion human rights together. It's an honor to welcome you to the 21st annual meeting of the Southeast Asian National Human Rights Institutions here in Dili. We are joined by esteemed chair and representatives from 6 key human rights bodies across Southeast Asia: Komnas HAM of Indonesia, SUHAKAM of Malaysia, MNHRC of Myanmar, CHRP of the Philippines, NHRCT of Thailand, and PDHG of Timor-Leste. Together within the framework of CENAF, we continue our shared mission to promote and protect human rights for all in our region. In a world where the protection of human rights is more crucial than ever, our collaboration is key to making a difference. This meeting is an opportunity to share best practices, identify challenges and discuss responses, and strengthen our commitment to safeguarding human dignity. Over the next 3 days, we will engage in meaningful discussions, workshops, and panels featuring esteemed speakers and advocates who are dedicated to advancing human rights. We invite you to participate actively, share your insights, and collaborate with us. Together, let's pave the way for a future where every individual rights are respected and upheld. Welcome to Timor-Leste. Human rights for all, especially in Southeast Asia. Respected, protected, and enjoyed equally by all.
President of the Republic Democratic of Timor-Leste, Dr. José Ramos-Horta, His Excellencies, the Ombudsman for Human Rights and Justice of Timor-Leste, Mr. Virgílio da Silva Guterres Lamunca. His Excellencies, they're all representatives from Line Minister, civil society, and all participants. In this beautiful moment, I would like to say welcome to Honorable Chairperson of Komnas HAM Indonesia, Ms. Atnike Nova Shijiro, Honorable Chairperson of Human Rights Commission of SUHAKAM, Malaysia, Mr. Dato Ser His Mahmudin bin MD Yunus. They're all delegates of Southeast Asia National Human Rights Institution Forum, CNF, of Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, and members via Zoom from Myanmar. Moreover, our deeply gratitude to respectable the Ambassador of Indonesia to Timor-Leste, Mr. Okto Darinus Manik, or his representative, respectable the Ambassador of Malaysia to Timor-Leste, Mr. Amarjit Sharjit Sin, respectable the Ambassador of the Philippines to Timor-Leste, Mrs. Belinda Mariano Ante, or her representative, the representative from PNTL, FFDTL, non-government organization, civil society organization, media, speakers, and moderator in this international seminar. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Ombudsman for Human Rights and Justice of Timor-Leste is honored to extend a warm welcome to all of you who is attending this international seminar with the topic Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights in Southeast Asia National Human Rights Border, Sharing Best Practices and Cases. This event aims to raise awareness among public authorities about the rights and fundamental freedoms related to economic, social, and cultural rights at the border. Moreover, to present and discuss key findings with national policymakers and members of the Southeast Asia National Human Rights Forum, CNF. To commence this program, I would like to invite all of us to stand up for the national anthem of Republic Democratic of Timor-Leste. Please stand up. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Now, I would like to invite Saint Anthony Group to show their dance performance. Please join me to welcome Saint Anthony Group. Thank you very much for the St. Antonio Group. Please again give our applause for the St. Antonio Group for a great performance. In this way, I would like to invite His Excellencies, the Provedor for Human Rights and Justice of Timor-Leste, Mr. Virgilio da Silva Guterres Lamuncan, to deliver a few words. The Provedor, stage is yours.
His Excellency, Mr. President, Dr. Ramazorta, welcome to this event. Thank you very much for your disponibility to accept our invitation to open this important seminar. Dr. Atnike Novasigiro, the incoming chair of Southeast Asia Forum of the chairperson of Komnas HAM of Indonesia, chairperson of SUHAKAM, the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia, chairperson of the Philippines, chairperson of Myanmar, I think, who is accompanying us via Zoom, commissioner from Thailand, Human Rights Commission, colleagues, representatives, and chair of public institution or state entities that representing, that mark your presence here. Thank you for coming, and we hope that today event will provide to us some good insights for our advocacy on economic and social rights of our people. International seminar of this kind, it's an integral part of SANAF's annual meeting. So we proceed first with our annual meeting. So we start 2 days ago discussing internal procedures, our strategies, what our collective commitment in campaigning or advocating for human rights in Southeast Asia. This international seminar is one of the activities to serve as space to share the best practice and also case studies among us on topic that we collectively agree to put on the seminar. And this time in Timor-Leste, when PDAJ performed as chair of Southeast Asia National Forum for Human Rights Institutions, we agree to adopt or to choose social or economic, social, and cultural rights, particularly in border areas. As we know that the Southeast Asia border is not just a geographical boundary. It's a vibrant tapestry of cultures, histories, and shared challenges. The communities here face unique socioeconomic dynamics that require our attention and collaborative efforts. Today, we will explore best practice and innovative strategies to enhance economic opportunities, promote social inclusion, and preserve cultural heritage. The seminar aims to foster an environment of shared learning and dialogue. We will hear from experts and government who have made significant strides in advocating for rights and improving livelihoods. Their experience will inspire us and provide practical insights into addressing the multifaceted issues we face. I encourage everyone to engage openly, ask questions, and share your perspectives. Let's take this opportunity to build connection and strengthen our collective impact in supporting the communities along our borders. And the presence of our president, a person, I think his experience, particularly in the Southeast Asia, will, in the opening, will provide us some brief remarks about his records and also his intentions or aspiration, what we can do to guarantee that border is our national demarcation, but it's not a point of separating people, but a point to make people live together. Because for us, we understand that for human rights and democracy principles, it's a borderless issue. If there's an institution named after Reporters Sans Frontières, Medicine Sans Frontières, Lawyers Sans Frontières, and then now with these issues, we can also proclaim that human rights sans frontières, human rights without borders. So thank you for your presence and participation. Together, let's embark on this opportunity journey towards a more equitable and just future for all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Provedor for Human Rights and Justice of Timor-Leste, for a great words. In this moment, we would like to say welcome to our respectable, the Ambassador of Thailand to Timor-Leste, Mr. Atipat. Welcome to this seminar. To open this international seminar, please join me to welcome His Excellency, the President of Republic Democratic of Timor-Leste, Dr. José Ramos Horta, to deliver his opening remarks. His Excellency, the place and times are yours.
Guests, all the foreign guests over here from ASEAN region, the distinguished ambassadors. I notice here we have only the ambassador of Thailand, and who is present is, but usually all the ambassadors are always very, very present in every activities. Obviously, those who are not present, I presume, are here with, oh, the ambassador of Malaysia, sorry. But I would say, and usually if they are not here, I'm sure there are representatives here, and I know all the faces of the ambassador, but not so well the other staff of the embassy. So the ambassadors present and the staff of the embassies, and the Timor-Leste institutions who participate here, I'm sure all have a very rich experience, and in particular, those engaged in human rights commissions on refugee agencies, etc. Because Southeast Asia, has ample experience of decades of dealing with all kinds of
recording in progress
of human problems that because of history, because of the Cold War, because then everything after that. God, you just talk to the Thai government, how many millions of refugees have hosted over the years, particularly from Myanmar. And every time leaders in Myanmar misrule the country, and everywhere we misrule the country, we provoke a flood of displaced people internally or refugees externally, and the border, those at your border suffer the most. And yet there has never been really international support in a strategic, systematic way to support the host countries, namely Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, the three that deal most with the problems in Myanmar, the refugees. And there is not, enough support. Unlike, for instance, support to Turkey in dealing with the extraordinary Syria crisis. And Turkey managed to get more support because they are dealing with Erdogan, and they are dealing with a time bomb of 3 million refugees in Turkey. So you better support. And then at one point, Erdogan managed to negotiate with the European Union a $10 billion package to support Turkey. But as I read over the years, I observed situation. Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, the three that left alone almost to deal with this problem. Not entirely, it would be unfair. So these countries and others in the region are the most experienced in addressing it, and it's never easy. Of course, on the other side, of Southeast Asia, you have Bangladesh, maybe up to 1 million Rohingya people and others in Bangladesh, and you can imagine the circumstances. To talk to these governments about economic, social, cultural rights, well, they know all about it, and so I have a bit of experience, not only because of Timor, but when the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon invited me and appointed me as Under-Secretary General, head of the Peace Building Integrated Mission and Special Representative in one was a refugee situation in the West African region. Those who are familiar with the conflicts there in West Africa, like particularly Mali, but also then the consequences of the crisis in Libya and into West Africa. Well, you can imagine. And again, there also the support from the international community for those, for UN agencies and for the countries that host all the victims of these instabilities, these cross-border conflict, some mostly non-conventional security problems. It involves Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and the UN itself. When I was chair of after the Guinea-Bissau, I was invited by the Secretary General of the UN and by the Security Council to chair a panel called High-Level Panel on Peace Operation. And at the time, my advice to the Secretary General was for the UN not to accept to be dragged into Mali. I said, Mali is not a peace operation. It's not a peacekeeping. It's counterterrorism, and the UN was not created to deal with counterterrorism. Well, because of tremendous pressure by France on the Secretary General Security Council, they deployed peacekeeping to Mali. Well, a few years later, the UN had to pack and leave, completely unfulfilled the task for which it was assigned, but for which I had warned, don't do it, in my capacity as chair of the high-level panel on peace operation. Then, after that, Secretary General Antonio Guterres invited me, when he was elected, to another job called member of the high-level board on mediation. We were 21 former head of state and blah, blah, all of that. And through all of this, when you look at these problems that I read and researched, heard, always, every conflict almost inevitably cause refugees, disrupt the lives of millions of people, disrupt economies, and so on. And in the process, in many of these countries, I even went to Jordan to visit the refugee camps along Jordan and the Syria border. There I was not with the UN, I was invited by the Jordanian royal family, particularly Prince Ali, and he was my host. And standing there, you can see ISIS 2 kilometers away. And so many of these situations that haven't had the same attention from the international community as it has devoted to Ukraine. Ukraine, I don't refer to the military conflict, I refer to the way the international community responded to the refugee crisis from the Russian intervention in Ukraine. Millions and millions, I think now maybe 7 million or 8 million Ukrainians are throughout Europe, extremely well received by those countries. They were not frozen in some unsafe haven like Syrian refugees and others, stuck throughout Turkey and elsewhere without facilities. Only when Erdogan demanded attention, then because there was not even a strategy from the European side. They were caught by surprise, so it's understandable not only to criticize that. Timor-Leste, and I can tell you only one little example. A few years ago, an Indonesian lady came to Timor-Leste. She was writing a book on borders. And she came and met with me. I was former president, I was relatively free. And she was reviewing borders in the region. And her book already came out. And she came to see me, and I said, listen, why don't you just go to the border, East Timor and Indonesia, see by yourself. And so she went to Motaing. She came back totally pleased, surprised. She said, the most informal border, the most peaceful border she has seen in her many years of research. Then she asked me to do a preface, and she asked former Vice President of Indonesia, Turizmu. So the book has two prefaces, mine and the Turizmu. So East Timor border in Motaing with Indonesia stands out as one of the most peaceful, one of the most humane, and one of the less policing. In spite of the existence of the legal border, well, there are tens of thousands of people who separated through history, through that demarcation, and they still walk over to the other side almost on a daily basis. ignoring the, the regulated border in Motaing. Before I took office 3 years ago, I was asked by the police at the border, UPF, to please help a family in near Motaing. They live almost glued to the border physically, in very poor conditions. So please, President, can you build a home for them? So I say, yes, I will. So I gave our police the money, the material, because cheaper to buy in Atambua, and of course, much closer to the border. And we did the house for the lady. Then I was asked to go to give the key to the lady. So I went in the middle of nowhere, very close to the border. And the lady was complaining. She was complaining against the police. And she said, I've been going back and forth for years into see my family on the other side. And I never had any problem. Last week, they arrested me and confiscated my bag with things. And I said, which border you use? Oh, hausa be dalam be bibi salian. I always use the goat. Oh, well, so you've been done this many times. First time they caught you. But anyway, this is, again, so silly for the police to bother waste time with arresting some poor woman for crossing the border, supposedly illegally. Many, many years ago, I was in Waikuse. I was in one of the sub district. One of the policemen, very proud, he was reported about his activities the night before. And we detained and confiscated 100 liters of fuel. Well, someone had gone into West Timor, bought the fuel, much cheaper than in West Timor than East Timor, 100 liters. So he paid his Indonesian counterpart. The poor guy walked back, and they confiscated his petrol. And of course, the poor guy lost the money. And so I told the police, I said, listen, as long as we don't violate Indonesian laws, we are not, because it's already happening inside East Timor. Let me tell you what you should do. You should do like the priests do. When you see someone like that, you just do like that. Give your blessing. Don't waste time, energy harassing the simple people. Then one day I met, years ago, during my first term in office, I met with President Sosial. Very good man. And whenever I drove from my home, Metiau, to Dili, to the office, in the morning, I always see what is called illegal trade activities. You see a big wooden boat, very old one. I don't know how they survived coming from Alor or wherever to Dili. So right 200 meters away from where I was. And you can see them unloading petrol with a plastic jerry can, then with a plastic rope. And I always wave to them, and they wave back. They know that the president of Timor. And so one day I told President Sosial this. I said, governments exist, states exist to facilitate the lives of people. They are doing very well with all these activities. They are not harming anyone. They are not harming anyone. And, but then I said, why don't we create, regulate a free area, only these small people, so that they can come from wherever they come. Exceptional relationship between the neighboring countries or elsewhere. And they come for medical reasons and whatever. And I told them, listen, illegal people come. We without passport and anything. I said, listen, every time from anywhere in the world, a human being reach our shores looking for help, for food, for water, medical treatment, or fleeing fear, we don't ask questions, we receive them. We give them water, give them shelter. Only after they have rested, they have recovered, you ask, by the way, brother, where are you from? Where did you come from? But that again, of course, the police in Nauru, they heard, but they don't think that is the what the law says, you know. But it can be done when between neighboring countries there is peace, is absolute. I say this only to any other situation. Of course, these niceties cannot happen between the Thai-Burma border. Rohingya, you know, pushed away by the military. So, and in that regard, I'm not going to say to our guests here or to the governments of the region what to do, because they are the ones who handle these situations for decades. And until the situations in the countries concerned that cause the outflow of refugees are settled, are resolved, then this problem is going to continue in parts of Southeast Asia. A great example is precisely East Timor and Indonesia. Way back in 75, civil war in Timor, well, the first Timorese refugees, they fled to West Timor. And some, eventually, they fled to Australia. The country lives today in absolute tranquility and in absolute tranquility with the neighbors. What do you have? Not refugees, not IDPs, but you have some crossing the border illegally because of too much bureaucracy or whatever in the border, or they don't have documents, but they have families, so they cross over. This situation we attempted to regulate when I was foreign minister. We had negotiations with myself, with Hassan Wiriuda, and we agreed during the time of President Ibu Sukarno Putri, Ibu Mega, a so-called border pass, the same like a whereby with that anyone living in the border within certain up to certain distance, they have this pass, they can legally enter Indonesia for 2 weeks, I think, allowed to return with $500 or $400 worth of. But this process simply stopped. So as a result, people are doing it, many are doing it illegally. But now with the visa on arrival, and many more Timorese have access to passport, is no longer probably that's the reason why it's no longer so used. But people in Timor-Leste itself, sometimes they're totally surprised when I tell them, shared with them. Even people in the foreign ministry, the police, the immigration, they were not aware of the figures. I was in a meeting before COVID, during COVID time. I was asked to address the meeting. I asked, do you know how many people, I asked the police, the immigration, how many people cross the border from East to West Timor every month? No one answered. More than 100,000. By December 31st, 2019, you'd be shocked to know. 1.7 million. Average has been more than 100,000. I don't know now. after COVID and all of that. But up to that time, I had a regular information from, by kindness of the Indonesian side, provide me for my own use. But of course, 1.7 million means that's money more than the population. So they were talking about entries. Some would enter 10 times a year, 20 times a year. But this, again, is only possible when you have two countries, two neighbors that at peace, both at peace. And inevitably, in many of these borders, you have families living across. Like in West Africa is one of the most porous borders in the world. Totally free movement of people in West Africa. Anyone in Guinea-Conakry, the French-speaking Guinea-Conakry, or Senegal at the border, they just walk into the neighboring country. By law, it's legal. Because it was next to impossible to regulate it, next to impossible to control it. And because the people there across borders in Africa, many countries at least, I cannot generalize, but those are same people, separated only by the Berlin Conference and by the Europeans. So the leaders, the government decided in that area, in West Africa mostly, completely free. And and even the names, God, so many common names. Camara, Touré, almost everybody's Camara, everybody's Touré. So I will end here only to say, when we look at economic, social, and cultural rights, the two main human rights treaties, human rights conventions, civil and political rights, economic, social, and cultural rights. But literally, when it comes to observance, implementation, and you're dealing with refugee situations, ladies and gentlemen, I have seen it all. In many instances, organized crime take over in the camps. I've seen it with my own eyes. Organized crime take over. And then organized crime in complicity with many, many other people involved. Some more resilient refugees, they make a living in the camps. I visit the refugee camp at the Jordanian side of Syrian refugees, extremely well managed by the UNHCR in partnership with the Jordanian government. Streets, the camp has the streets, had medical facilities, schools, and the more enterprising people set up restaurants, shops. They try to make that area a bit more normal, like a town. But it is a refugee camp. But generally, so how can we imagine the camps in Bangladesh? A country that is it's a huge population, very dense population, with serious challenges, problems for the environment, environment challenges, floods. They have done tremendous in poverty alleviation in Bangladesh, one of the most successful but still struggle with tremendous challenges. And yet very limited support, unlike in other situations. So it is almost, it's a nightmare. So for the countries, particularly, to have my fullest sympathy and zero observation or recommendation to make because it will be totally silly you know, for someone to tell the Thais, the Malaysians, the Indonesians, how to address the refugee or IDP situation. I think I would say probably you deserve more commendation and a peace prize or humanitarian prize than any more gratuitous advice. Thank you, and God bless you all. Those of you who come from abroad, try to take the time to visit Dili. You can visit the Presidential Palace. There is a gallery there. There's a gallery that also a hall called the ASEAN Hall. So completely dedicated to ASEAN. You can visit my gallery. It's called Living Memory Gallery in Farol. And a few other places. And now is the whale season. A lot of whale and dolphin activities. So don't spend all the time here in the conference and skip some sessions and visit the city. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, His Excellency President of Republic Democratic of Timor-Leste, for those wonderful opening remarks. Again, give to our applause to the President of the Republic of Timor-Leste. Now for the photo session. I would like to invite His Excellency, the President of Republic Democratic of Timor-Leste, His Excellency, Ambassador for Human Rights and Justice, our respectable, the Ambassador of Thailand to Timor-Leste, our respectable, the Ambassador of Malaysia to Timor-Leste, and all delegates, NEF members, to take place in front to have the photo session. Deputy Provedor for Good Governance and Human Rights, please join. Now we would like to invite the speakers, moderator, and representative from Line Minister. Please join to have photo session. Civil society, PNTL, FFDTL. CAC, INAP, KFP, may we invite our members delegates from Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand to join us. Ize, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have concluded the opening ceremony for this international seminar. Thank you for your participation. Now it's time for coffee break. We have 15 minutes for tea or coffee break. Thank you.
Welcome to Dili, the vibrant heart of Timor-Leste, where we gather to champion human rights together. It's an honor to welcome you to the Southeast Asian National Human Rights Institution here in Dili. We are joined by esteemed chair and representatives from 6 key human rights bodies across Southeast Asia: Komnas HAM of Indonesia, Suhakam of Malaysia, MNHRC of Myanmar, CHRP of the Philippines, NHRCT of Thailand, and PDHG of Timor-Leste. Together within the framework of CENAF, we continue our shared mission to promote and protect human rights for all in our region. In a world where the protection of human rights is more crucial than ever, our collaboration is key to making a difference. This meeting is an opportunity to share best practices, identify challenges and discuss responses, and strengthen our commitment to safeguarding human dignity. Over the next 3 days, we will engage in meaningful discussions, workshops, and panels featuring esteemed speakers and advocates who are dedicated to advancing human rights. We invite you to participate actively. Sites and collaborate with your rights are respected and upheld. Welcome to Timor-Leste. Human rights for all, especially in Southeast Asia. Respected, protected, and enjoyed equally by all.